Hello everyone guys. A few days ago, we released a video for you about how to feel like the master of your life and start beating PIPS players. This was the first part, and in it, we discussed the most important ingredient. From the comments we found out that not all viewers understood the gist. Probably, that's why there are players who suffer greatly against long PIPS. And now, we'll discuss a few other important aspects using the example of the magnificent player on the screen. By the way, his name is Danis. So, long PIPS players. They run back and forth and pretend not to be afraid of us. What do they dislike the most? Flat shots. They fly fast, and they don't spin. That's why it's much harder for them to chop or block with PIPS. By the way, the trajectory of the ball also matters. Top spins fly in an arc, and after bouncing, they rise and then start to fall. And it's especially convenient for a long PIPS player to chop them during the phase when the ball is descending. It's easier to chop from below, and the ball seems to fly onto a racket itself. But a flat shot usually flies on an increasing trajectory and then goes straight. So, take an example from the screen on the player. Oh no, from the player on the screen. When the ball comes just above the net, he happily slammed it with a counter drive or a flat shot, giving the defender a chance to lose the point. By the way, notice that even on the backhand, he occasionally uses a sharp shot. It's not exactly a flat shot, but the idea is the same. The ball flies from him fast and more straight compared to a topspin. The defender has less time, so the attacker increases his chances of either winning the point right away or getting a more favorable ball to continue the attack. By the way, friends, visit our store more often. It will be your best way of thanking us for our videos. And here's another feature of the attacker's game who plays with superiority against defenders. It's having an attack on the backhand. There's a common belief that when playing against a defender, attacking with a backhand is not necessary. It's enough to drop the ball on the backhand and attack with a forehand. It's a normal working algorithm. It's convenient, and many players play that way. But the guy on the screen does it differently. He starts his attack with backhand topspin and scores goals with a hard backhand shot. Aggressive pressure both on the right and on the left. So, dear lovers of topspins, here are two key technical details whose implementation will turn you into a tormentor of defenders. They will avoid you and complain about you. So, just now, as well as in the previous video, I pointed out special moments that distinguish this attacker from others when playing against long PIPS and defenders. You saw that, got inspired, and probably rushed off to practice. For those who haven't run off yet, let me list a few more technical points. Maybe you've already noticed it. The player on the screen is patient. He often returns the ball with an open racket, often playing passively. This may not seem like an interesting feature. There's nothing to watch and nothing to be impressed by. But let's make an effort and turn on our brains. What do attackers often do against defenders? They try to attack. As one of my friends said, I don't know what a chop is. I know what a topspin is. A typical attacker behavior is to make topspins, attack, and put pressure on the defender. Defenders know this and take advantage of it. They vary the ball's characteristics, implement different tricks, and provoke the attacker to make an attack. Here, full attack. And what do many attackers do? Enthusiastically and with confidence, they make their topspins. And they often make mistakes. This is exactly what defenders need, to force attackers to make mistakes. Defenders win points off attackers' mistakes. But what does the attacker on the screen do? He refuses to risk and calmly returns the ball to the defender. He doesn't want to make mistakes. He maintains his concentration and waits for a more favorable ball for the attack. A competent and professional approach, which for some reason is not popular among attackers. The attacker on the screen gives fewer points to the defender. He's not Santa Claus with presents. And continuing this point, I'll add that the attacker doesn't rush and patiently throws slow topspins to the defender, waiting for a more favorable higher ball for a strong attack. Well, this should be enough to be a leader and make mincemeat of defenders. Sorry, defenders, for such epithets. But sometimes we need to butter up the attackers with some goodies. By the way, friends, please hit the like button and subscribe right now so YouTube will recommend our videos more often in the search results. And here's one last technical point. Pay attention. The attacker on the screen doesn't just hammer topspins into one spot. He doesn't do them in a series in one direction, for example, down the right diagonal. Instead, he constantly makes them right, left, right, left. Yes, I didn't say anything extraordinary, but attackers often forget about this. Probably because all players train topspins in a series along the diagonal. And because of that, everyone gets used to topspinning right to left many times. And often, this works automatically during a match. The hands just do it. And it's convenient for the defender. Such a habit is probably with everyone. And of course, it's easier to do what you're used to. It happens by itself. But if you want a better result, you need to use your head and do what's uncomfortable for the defender. And returning to the video topic, I'll emphasize once again, if you want to beat long PIPS players confidently, I recommend watching the first part of this video and thinking about its topic. After all, there are roots, and there's a trunk with leaves growing from the roots. Powerful roots will give a massive crown with leaves. The first video talks about the roots, and this one is about the leaves. The link to the first part is under this video. And friends, don't forget to visit our store for rubbers and racket shoe. Bye everyone.